Alright, so today's video is going to be installing the scale coilovers. We have the instructions here online. It's pretty simple install. We have basic height adjustment. The next one here is how to set preload on that coil. So you should only have 5 millimeters of preload. Adjustable dampening. And for us, we're going to be going full soft to start off. I am not a fan of a harsh ride. All right, so let's take a look at the actual scale coilover next. Alrighty, here we have the scale coilover. I opted for the Swift spring upgrade. That is really recommended. I come from the off-road world, and coil springs have a tendency to sag over time. And to get the best quality coil spring possible, they'll have an initial sag, but after that they shouldn't sag anymore. I've seen some real horror stories where coil springs just start sagging and sagging and sagging, especially you know, when you're looking at older cars, you can really see it in the camber. The car sits lower, there's a lot more negative camber, and realistically your ride degrades too, because they become softer, and it's not an enjoyable thing. All right, so let's take a look at the car. So this is the 2011 Infiniti M56. You can see I have some, I believe they're TSW wheels. I can't remember exactly what they are. I got some BF Goodrich tires on there. I can't remember exactly what they are. You can see I actually have the Z1 Motorsports two-piece rotors. Makes a huge difference. Upgraded the brakes. I actually do have stainless steel brake lines that we will be installing. And actually, we might even do that today, depending on how sparky I feel. Okay, so after inspecting the coilovers, making sure you have all your parts, there's nothing wrong with the car. The next thing you want to do is check the ride height. So you really want to go right to each wheel, and this is important because you want to know what your starting point is. You can get as good as you can with matching the height of the actual coilover, but you want to get the fender height. And you want to make sure that you're going straight through the center of the hub, and you're at the kind of the highest point here. The best opportunity would be if you had a ball level and you can actually just confirm that that you're level to the ground. However, for us, we're gonna go, looks like we're 29 1/4. Wow, 29 1/4 as well. Looks like the back is 29 1/4, and coming up to the front right, should say the passenger side of the vehicle, again, we're pretty much dead nuts at 29 1/4. Actually, it looks a little lower on this side. All right, so here we have just the stock setup. Obviously, this is Z1 Motorsports two-piece caliper, or I mean two-piece rotor, I should say. Looks super nice. I'm really happy with the quality of this. Factory size, nothing too crazy, drilled and slotted. But the center section, I believe, is aluminum, and the outer is iron, obviously, which saves, I believe it's 10 pounds per rotor on the front, and on the back it's 5 pounds per rotor. So you're dropping a total 30 pounds of unsprung weight, which is pretty considerable. I wouldn't say I noticed a difference, but because I put them on like right as soon as I got this car, so I really couldn't tell you that there was a huge difference. But I want to say the butt dyno enjoyed it. So anyway, so coming in here to the stock strut housing, we're going to take this bolt out here, down here at the bottom, and then up at the top there's going to be 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3. We got to pop the hood to do that, and quite literally this should just fall out. Now there are 2 things that we have to consider when taking this out. Is number 1, the brake line is going to be attached, so we have to detach the brake line. And if we come on the other side, there is the This is actually for the wheel speed sensor, and these just are rubber and they just come right out. So no real real concerns with that stuff right there. So with that being said, go and do that on the other side, and then we'll drop that brake line off and we should be good to go. Should be a 12 millimeter right here. Wrong way, there we go. Ooh, that one's on there. Oh, okay, you're gonna be a little, okay, all right. I see how that is. All right, now we gotta swing around here, pop the hood. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Hood pop right there. There we go. Let's see. We've got to undo these 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3 on that side, and 1, 2, 3 on that side, and then we'll lift the car back up. All right, so now it's time to take out this bottom bolt right here, and it's actually connected to the sway bar as well. So if you'll notice over here, it's just 1 bolt, but something that I planned on is that this sway bar bushing, or this sway bar linkage, and that sway bar bushing right there, I actually bought brand new ones of those. So those are gonna get replaced at the exact same time. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so I got those bolts off there, and these just kind of go off. And now we got to get a wrench on that end, and I can put some torque on this guy right there. Same thing over here. Took that bolt off. Do the same thing, and while I'm at it, I'm just gonna take these off, take the sway bar off, and get it out of the way. That way, one less thing to worry about. All right, let's take a look here. So now we have the strut out. There's actually a bracket down here that I forgot to mention. I actually didn't even know about it until I started working, and that bracket goes on there like that, and that's what actually holds this side of the strut in. So that's pretty cool. And then just for anybody that's wondering, here's a sneak peek of my headers. I know people have been asking questions about those. So there's a little peek right there. We'll go on the other side. Take another peek. This side looks a lot cooler because that steering shaft right there, but yeah, and just to give you a little taste of the exhaust. There you go. All right, so I'm setting the ride height now, and as you can see, I'm laying down the shocks, or I should say the struts on one end so that they're equal on this end, and I'm following this along, and I'm trying to line these up as best I can. Eyeball is the best method here. And one thing I'm worried about is what is the thread engagement, because here we have the actual sleeve, but how many threads are engaged? And I know there's a safety margin. I don't know exactly what it is, but as you can see, I mean, I've got at least 1.5 inches of threads left on this steel tube before I even start worrying about leverage and running out of threads, safety margin, all that stuff. So I think it should be good, especially when I get the preload on there. if I'm a betting man, it's gonna sit about 1/2 inch lower at the same ride height, but we'll see. One thing you want to definitely take note is when you take off your old struts, take this gasket off and put it on the new ones. Even though it looks old and dingy, you definitely want to have that gasket on the new stuff down here. So and sorry if you can hear the fan or if I'm breathing heavy, but it is hot in here. It's probably over 100 degrees and I am sweating just a teensy bit. So anyway, such is life as a mechanic YouTuber guy. All right, see you in a bit. All right, let's take a look. Take a look-see. All right, so kind of failed you a little bit. I still have the old sway bar bushings in. I think I lost them. I changed shops recently. When I say I changed shops, I moved out of my house garage and I moved into another garage with a lift and all that stuff. So I think I left them at home. So forgive me. But there they are installed. Preload is set. I'm getting ready to put the wheels on just to check and see what the ride height is. This is kind of the pain in the neck part, is setting your ride height. So I've got everything so that, I mean, the numbers line up. You know, you can see how scale has numbers actually on the shock body, and that makes it nice and easy to be able to come over and just confirm your settings. You know, did I move it up 3 notches, a whole notch, whatever, what have you, whatever you want. I'm not gonna mess with it too much. I do have a surprise though. The surprise is in this box. All right, so what are we looking at here? So there's the box. I unboxed it, and it's TBW Performance's under tray, aluminum under tray pieces. So as you can see, my car does not have any. Actually, you can see I have an external oil cooler. That'll be another video because I want to redo the lines. But you can see all V-Vel engines should have an external oil cooler to keep the oil temps in check. I think I did 5 runs on the dyno and the oil temps were up over 240, 250, just in a matter of minutes. But as you can see, these are supposed to bolt up here nice. The only problem is my bumper. I'm 90% sure that my bumper is missing some sort of bracketry, and I'm hoping that somebody could help me with that, because the stock one would come out here being plastic. It would catch in the wind and it would be flopping around and hitting the ground, and it just made this terrible noise. It felt like the whole car was gonna freaking die. But anyway, you can see the oil cooler in through there. There's a power steering cooler. I hope to have a transmission cooler in here soon as well, just to keep all the temps in check. But without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and install this lower piece. It does come with hardware, so we'll crack open the hardware and it should just all go back in the factory locations.
So much for that time warp, but I did get it in. It was kind of a pain in the neck. I'll come back over here on this angle so you can maybe see it better. So you can see it's all aluminum construction, nice new hardware, Nissan hardware, new bugger clips, whatever you call those. And then if you look up here, you know, I know I'm missing something. I know this bumper is been through hell and back. The fenders, the paint doesn't match 100%, so I know it's been through some sort of front end damage. I got this car out of Houston. Hey, look, there's even a zip tie right there. That's funny. So, you know, I know this thing has been through a little bit and come back. It drives great. Even the service guy said that this car was just taken care of super immaculately. And when you look under the car, I mean, it looks really clean. So I'm not too worried about this. Maybe someday I'll get a new bumper, but until then, this metal piece should do the job. So anyway, bring her back down. I'm gonna put the wheels on, bring her back down, check ride height, and see where we're at. All right, we've now moved on from the fronts. I actually measured. We are a little bit high on the front by about a ½ inch. We're about a ½ inch. So without further ado, we're gonna get started and put in the rear coilovers. Should be the same as the front, just a little bit different because there's no steering angle, there's no brake brackets or anything to deal with, so they should just plop right in. The only challenge I see is in the back here. The shock tower resides right behind this. So from what I've heard, is what we do is we come in here, and don't mind this mat, this is for my dog. You'll meet Deuce later. But we're gonna take the bottom cushion out, we're gonna take the back cushion out, and that should give us direct access to the shock tower right there. All right, let's get after it. All right, now it's time to take the bottom seat out, and what we're gonna do is there's a small tab here. If you can see that right there, we're gonna pull this, and the seat just pops right on out, just like that. I've already done the other side. Now your seat belts are gonna hold you up, so just kind of work those around. We do got some metal pin prongs back here, just want to be careful of. So when you're pulling this out, oh, I must not have gotten the other side 100%. Let's come over here. Try this again. There we go. And now, whew, now she's ready to come on out. There we go. Now in here, there's this lower kind of sound deadening piece. We're just gonna remove this too, just to make it easier on ourselves. And the next thing we gotta do is somehow take the back off. So I gotta do a little bit of research, but I believe it's a couple bolts down here, just pulls off at the top, and we should be good to go. As you can see, I've got everything kind of loose here, but this seatbelt is definitely going to have to come off, so I'm just going to zip this off really quick. Should be 14. And there we go. Now, it's important, this bolt is a seatbelt bolt, and it's either grade 8 or rated higher 10.1 metric style bolt, because that is a safety bolt. So you definitely want to make sure you replace that bolt with the same or equivalent. So now we've got the other seat belts out from their ties. You can see them right here, and we should be able to just kind of work this off. So I'm gonna take the headrests off and take a look in the back, see if there's anything I missed. All right, ladies and gents, the rear seat is out. It was kind of a pain in the neck. As you can see, the way that this seat fits into the back here, see this hook? And I'll try and get a side shot of it. The way that that seat has to come down and hook around the back, which I assume putting the seat in is going to be a lot easier. Taking the seat out, you had to push back and up, and you had all this stuff to work against you. Now that we have this free, our shocks are right there. It's really, really super easy to get to if you just easily take that rear seat out. When I say easily, I'm being sarcastic or facetious. And then there's your rear trunk latch right there. So anyway, something that I might do down the road is I think the car has a lot of road noise, so I think I might take this sound deadening out, and I might put the more what do they call that, the Dynamat or whatever that new stuff is these days. It's a mat and you layer it on, and it's supposed to quiet things down. I want to do that on the inside and on the outside. Try and quiet down, because I get a lot of road noise in this car. Even though it's a luxury car, it should be pretty quiet, and I think it is, but I think that because it's quiet, it gets a lot of road noise, which is like counterintuitive. But anyway, without further ado, let's lift the car up and get the shocks out. All right, so here we have the rear shocks. They just come in here and they go up to the top there, and they bolt on right here, and you can see the suspension is under some kind of tension. Ooh, what's that? A pretty exhaust right there. Yeah, nice. Anyway, so yeah, all we got to do is match up the size of the or I should say the size, the length. You can see they come way shorter, so I'm a little confused. I'm gonna have to again extend those out and do some research. And one thing I do notice that scale missed is the nut for the end of the bolt here is on the stock shock is welded to the actual shock housing. On the scale coilover, it is not. You can see that it is not on there. So I got to look in the packaging and see if they included a nut. Otherwise, I'm going to have to improvise and look in my stash to see if I have any spare nuts, which I'm sure I do, because I got Nissan stuff from here back to 1988. So, all right. Alrighty. They are installed. And now it's time to set the preload. All right, so got those coilovers installed. I'm really happy with the ride height I got. I let them settle overnight just to see what the settle amount is. The passenger side front tire, front right, is a little lower than the rest. So I'm not sure why. It was a little bit lower factory ride height, so I'm just assuming that it's just leftover something with that. But I'm really happy with the coilover install. The only problem is I still have to put everything back together here. And bing, just like that, seats are back in. Where's my easy button? That was easy.